Gerald Stebelton. He was first sworn into the Ohio House of Representatives in 2007 and is currently serving his third term. He represents the 5th House District, which encompasses all of Fairfield County. Jerry?
Thanks, Tara. Thank you, Tara. It's always good to be here. Tim, I think, where are you, Tim? That bill you're talking about on the arson registry, I think we passed that out of Judiciary Committee this past week, but I'm not positive. It's either this past week or it's on the agenda this week. So, well, thank you to the Chamber for sponsoring this event. It's always a pleasure to be here and to share with you what's going on. I want to say a couple things about all of us who represent you in public service. It's an honor to do this job, and we take this responsibility seriously. Contrary to the words of some people who write to us, you would think in their opinions that we don't do anything, but it's kind of a busy time. I've had 3 letters this week which tell me I'm a fool, I'm an embarrassment, and I'm a Lancaster country boy. Now, I think the latter of those I could use as a compliment, but I'm not sure about the others. But in any event, it's always good to get letters from people that say thanks. They're too far and few between, believe me. But anyway, I want to talk with you a little bit today about education because I am the chair of the Education Committee in the House, and it's a high priority for me. And I think we're going to accomplish some things this year and perhaps in the budget next year that have been a long time coming. I want to go back to the spring of this year when there was visited on me as chairman of the Education Committee. And by the way, you know, we are given assignments by the Speaker of the House or by the President of the Senate, and the assignment as chairman of the Education Committee was a little present called Senate Bill 316, which was the governor's idea of some reforms in education that he believed were pretty pressing and needed to be done in the short session we had left. It was a 500-page bill that we came to the Senate in March. The Senate had it for 6 weeks and sent it to us, and we had 9 days to work with it. It had a bunch of stuff in it, and I knew it was going to be difficult to get it out of the House in that form that it came to us. So the first thing I did was strip out something called the governor's proposed A through F school ranking system. And the reason I did that, and by strip it out, I mean I basically introduced a substitute bill which didn't include anything on the A through F system. The governor justifiably, I think, wants to go to a different ranking system for our schools. There are a lot of reasons for that, and I won't bore you with the details, but we think over the years that the current ranking system of excellent with distinction, excellent, on down to academic emergency, probably has been watered down and probably doesn't have a lot of significance anymore compared to where it was originally. But there are a lot of reasons for doing this, and it was an important issue, but I also thought that there was not sufficient time to address this issue legitimately and fairly within the time that we had before we were going to take our summer recess. And not much happens over the summer, and then we come back into this frenetic period called lame duck. And so I stripped out from that bill the A through F system, and with the promise that I would introduce another bill, and I did, called 555, House Bill 555, which is a new system. We passed 316 and got it back to the Senate with some changes, and finally the governor signed it and it became law. So over this past summer, in addition to working on the 555 bill, I've been working with Ron Amstutz, who's chairman of the Finance Committee, on a new school funding formula. I know that's a novel idea for some of you. You've never heard about a new full school funding system, maybe only 20 times over the last 20 years, but We're working on that. We spent the time this summer visiting 6 different locations throughout the state of Ohio, talking with people in Akron, Lima, Cincinnati, Warren County, Columbus, and others about their ideas and about some possibilities that we could utilize. We took testimony from several recognized experts in school funding from all over the country. We will use some of those in our ideas, and we hope to be able to put our heads together with the governor's office to come up with a school funding formula to introduce in the budget in the 130th General Assembly, which starts next year. So far, the governors, we know that they're working on a new budget, a new funding system. They've been very close to the breast with this funding formula, and so we don't know exactly what they're thinking. I think they know what we're thinking, but we need to find some common ground, because adopting a whole new funding system for education in the state of Ohio is no easy task. I remember, some of you may know that I was an aeronautical engineer before I became a lawyer, and one of my campaign advisors originally said, let's use this rocket scientist thing and say that school funding is not rocket science. And you know what? It's not. It's a hell of a lot harder, because you have lots and lots of moving parts that you don't have in rocket science. Rocket science is dictated primarily by physics, math, and chemistry, and then you get when school funding and schools, and you get into the issues of people, which are very complex commodities, in case you didn't know that. But we're working on the funding formula. We'll see how that comes out with the governor's office, and we're working on the district report cards. Basically, the district report card bill will have 3 components. The district report cards will be changed to an A through F system over a period of 3 years to coincide with when we go to what is known as the Common Core curriculum. And is it 14-15 or 15-16, Steve? I can't remember. 14-15. I thought it was, but I wasn't positive. It's on the 14-15 school year, the schools in the state of Ohio are going to something called the Common Core curriculum. And that will be a much more difficult curriculum, especially in math and the reading curriculum, language arts, etc. And the measures that will evaluate performance for those subject matters are still being developed by national organizations. And so we have a system today which is marked, you go from excellent with distinction down to academic emergency. And then we'll go to another system in 3 years called A through F. And the governor's proposal was to go immediately to A through F this year. And I didn't think that was a good idea, because it put a burden on our local school districts to make 2 transitions, perhaps 3 transitions over a period of 3 years. And we've put a lot on our school districts' plates already with the Common Core, and we felt that they needed the time to prepare for that without focusing on the rating system. So when I pulled that bill out, we then began having meetings with the Senate, with the governor's office, with some national outside organizations on what this new system should look like. And it will go to an A through F system, but in the interim period of time, I want you to envision your dashboard, and take a look at your dashboard on your car when you leave here today. I looked at mine when I came over here, and I have six measurements on that car, on my dashboard. What we're going to have in the first year is 6 measurements of performance for local schools, and they will be simply identified as how we're doing in each of those particular performances at each school building, and each school district in the state. Those individual components, like graduation rate, annual yearly progress, and other measurements, will be identified and rated on an A through F basis, but there will not be a composite score given to the district at this time. Over the next 3 years, we will develop new indicators, new measurements, and new factors to put on that dashboard so that the dashboard becomes more complex. And each of those will also have their own rating system and evaluation measures, which have yet to be developed and will be developed in this plan to go toward the Common Core. And as we add those things onto the dashboard, those will also achieve an A through F rating, but we still will not have a composite score until we get to 15, 16. And in that year, we will then take some measurements, some determination as to how we rate each of these dashboard indicators and what percentage of the total grade each of those indicators are going to play in the new ranking system, so that we can develop a system that parents can understand, that educators can understand, and that the general public can understand. We believe that that will improve our performance. There will be, as we go to the Common Core, we know for a fact that there will be a decline in the ranking systems of our schools almost without exception compared to national norms. There's some indication that you may see performance according to these new standards drop by 30 to 40% from what they are today. So that's a big chunk for people to swallow. We didn't want that to happen in two chunks. We wanted it to happen in one and then recover and go forward. And it will be a challenge for our districts, but I think it will be good for our districts to see where they are compared to some of the other school districts throughout the country, compared to our school districts here in the state of Ohio. And in large measure, we're going to be comparing ourselves by international standards as well. We live in an international society today. The competition is international. What we have to do in the job market, job preparedness for our students, is compete with China, India, all the nations of Southeast Asia, Korea, and other nations in Europe. We can't do that unless we continue to improve our school system. We're going to do that, and hopefully this country boy from Lancaster, Ohio is not a fool, and it's not an embarrassment to you, and we will get a new funding formula done, and we will get a new ranking system done, and all of our schools will be the better for it. I look forward to talking with all of you about it. If you have questions, I'll be happy to discuss it with you. I would like to see some letters saying, "Attaboy," once in a while. And I will take the negatives. I'm perfectly capable of standing up and discussing it with you. I meet with Steve Wigston and Rob Walker every month, once a month with each of them, and sit down and talk with them about what's going on in education. And sometimes we disagree, but that's okay. It's open communication, and I solicit ideas from them. They solicit ideas from me, and in the whole scheme of things, that's the way the government should work. So we appreciate everything our school districts are doing. We hope to make them better, and we hope to have a new funding formula in the next General Assembly. And with that, I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving and thank the Chamber again for having this event.